Hey, peeps, we're back again after a little bit of a break. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
been a while, but
Yeah, we've had stuff going on. Not had
life
the
got
energy
real.
to really get in. Yeah, life got so real.
So we thought, well, it's been a while since we've managed to get together because it's
Shit happened.
yeah,
Shit hit the fan and exploded all over the wall.
man, did it take me a while to get it out of the rug. But anyway, we decided, you know what, it's a bit quieter, it's a bit calmer, things have settled down for now at least. So we've come together to, let's make a
Have a little
video about
video.
it and a talk about it, and maybe whoever watches this and shit's getting real for you, you can kind of relate.
Not thinking we're having too much good advice on how to deal with the specific shit that we've been through, but maybe you just won't feel alone.
Exactly, I mean, we sort of kind of dealt with it, but
Kinda.
sorta. But I guess the point is, we kind of had a revelation through all the drama lately, and that was boundaries seem to be like a very common theme,
Yeah, or lack thereof.
lack of boundaries, lack of respect for boundaries, and
Not enforcing said boundaries.
and basically it kind of all, well, simultaneously, funnily enough, came to a climax for both of us, where we basically got to the point of, something's really got to give, otherwise we're going to go down in a big way. And where to start? Where to start, God, I'm stuck.
Yeah, it's a complicated one. Because there's been a lot going on. And you're right, it does have a lot to do with boundaries and lack thereof, or trying to enforce them now that we have decided that that's what we really should be doing. I mean, for me, the boundaries I've been trying to enforce have been with family members. And really, it has come to it because, well, I'm not very well. So, and it's being caused by anxiety and stress, and even after all of that, people are still trying to fuck me up. So, foot has been put down.
Firmly, with a firm hand. Put down with a firm hand.
Actually. Unfortunately, I've had to go back on that one because of recent things, but I can't really go into that right now.
Yeah.
Still not exactly going back on the boundaries, but more on the, all right, fair enough. The cutting out of certain people from my life has to not happen at the moment, but my boundaries will still be enforced.
So we kind of discussed before, just to give you guys a little bit of a background on this, that we've dealt with some toxic people, for want of a better term, both in our social lives and in our family lives, and we've been both reflecting a lot on self-awareness, self-empathy, self-love, and generally what is the best path and actions to take in order to start healing our wounds.
Yeah.
And
God damn, there's a lot of wounds.
Oh God, yeah. And there seems to be a lot of fresh wounds occurring because people are resisting boundaries.
My God, it's like they go mad. As soon as you try and put one boundary up, they are desperate to try and knock it back down again. And it's so draining trying to keep that wall up whilst people are just there knocking the crap out of it, trying to get you to give back in again.
It's like the classic scene from a zombie movie. You're kind of locked in, barricaded in that like one little shop or room, and they're like, bash, bash, you know, and then eventually they break in and you're like, well, shit. It's the best way to describe it, you know, when people push back against boundaries, like, no, how dare you? How dare you make...
How dare you have boundaries?
How dare you have self-respect? That's not on. And
why can't we treat you like shit?
That's not fair. Next argument.
Yeah, that's it. It's thing I have noticing is with both and trying to cut the boundaries we've not had, and various people don't like it. They really don't like it.
Well, no, and this is when you're going to start diving into certain personality disorders and certain patterns that they follow. And you know, one of the classic patterns of these toxic people are to push the boundaries because they don't understand boundaries. Boundaries do not exist within a toxic environment. That is one of the main reasons why it is toxic, because without boundaries there is essentially no respect.
Yeah.
And these boundaries can be anything from physical boundaries to emotional boundaries or non-visible boundaries of some degree. Whether it's don't talk to me like that, or don't touch me, or can you please just give me my personal space? You know, these are
all the way up to get the hell out of my life. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah. Pretty much. And when you put down these rules and they're like, well, no, because that stops me from doing what I want.
Yeah.
And if I don't get what I want, I'm going to have a temper tantrum. And the temper tantrum is essentially like a child.
Yeah.
You know, when, for instance, you're in the supermarket, child wants a sweet, you say no.
You can't have a sweet right now.
They have a meltdown to try and persuade you.
Please, mommy, I want a sweet, I want a sweet, I want a sweet. No. Wah! Yeah.
And it's basically, although it's not dignified, it's kind of like an easy way to get what you want, because people
will give in sometimes when that sort of thing happens and just go, okay, just to get you to stop, I'll just give you what you want. Because this is making me really uncomfortable right now. So just to get you to stop doing that, here, have what you want.
Yeah. So essentially bribing them. So the child is training you in that respect, or the person is training you in that respect.
If you say that, it's likening it to the toddler tantrum, but in grown-ass adults who should know better. Yes, that's more what we're talking about at the moment.
And although they don't physically start screaming and melting down like a toddler would do.
Are you sure?
In that respect, they will shout, they will name call, they will throw an adult version of the tantrum.
Yeah, and it's much more damaging emotionally, really, because they are more self-aware and have more words and more feelings to express and more ways to manipulate the shite out of you.
And they have the age and the wisdom of, you know, knowing and learning how to do these things. So it's...
I don't know, sometimes with the couple of tantrums from grown-ass adults that I've had to deal with at the moment, in the last few weeks, sometimes I in the midst of it, it was, do you really know what it is you're actually doing right now? Or, I mean, is this on purpose? Or are you just having this explosion of feeling because you don't know how else to express it? And sometimes I think it's a bit of both. Because, you know, particular individual that has this massive meltdown, very, very clever and manipulative at times, but sometimes I just think this person is just reacting because, like a child, because they don't know how else to react. And perhaps it was something that they learned throughout their childhood that always worked. So they never really progressed on from there.
Yeah, and they became stuck in that mode kind of thing because they didn't learn to evolve past that or grow past that.
Yeah, but seeing it now is just, whoa, you know?
I mean, we're all aware that it happens, but when you experience it, and it's also something that we've actually said in our numerous conversations between each other, between ourselves, that even though it shouldn't surprise us, we're dumbfounded in the moment, absolutely dumbfounded.
There's no other word for it. It is literally being dumbfounded. Like, you kind of expect it. But when it's actually happening and you see the magnitude of it, it's, what?
And it really knocks you off centre.
Yeah, it does, to the point where one of the little tantrums this individual was having caused me to have a severe fight or flight response, in which I was in my own meltdown mode, which is, I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here because I can't stand this anymore.
Before you continue, though, I'm going to hasten to add that this is her fleeing from her own home. Yeah. In this instance.
I had to leave my own house to get away from this individual because every time I'd asked for things to calm down and for this person to just vacate my premises because I couldn't deal with the emotional bullshit that was being thrown my way and not being listened to, and the circular conversations, and it was just too much, and it was giving me flashbacks. I ended up picking up my dog, getting in my car, leaving my door wide open, and driving away because they wouldn't leave my house. So,
and they were repeatedly asked to leave, so
about 6 times. And I even left and went into my back garden twice because it was just can't do this right now, you're not listening. The thing is, that particular incident that I'm talking about, I wasn't even aware it was going to happen until the person turned up on my doorstep.
So it was very impromptu. There was no room for preparation.
There was no preparation whatsoever. I was sat on my doorstep talking with my neighbour across the way, and suddenly this person's at my gate, and I've gone, crap. So the one thing that I'd said was because this particular person I said to that I didn't want them in my life anymore, not unless they were going to apologise. And I certainly was not going to let them inside my flat. When they reached my doorstep, a couple of words were exchanged, which was, "You all right?" "Yeah." "Okay, can I come in?" "Have you got something to say to me first?" "Well, I'll say it when I come in."
And just out of...
at that particular point, my boundary, it crumbled.
And I'm just going to say, for context, how long has this, so the peeps know, how long have you been asking for an apology and he has refused?
Before Christmas.
Which is, about 8 months?
Well, we're in June now, so yeah, about 7 or 8 months.
Yeah. And he refuses to give an apology.
The individual has said that he didn't need to apologise for what had happened, or what he had said to me, and how he had treated me. He didn't need to apologise for that. Or the words were, "I'm not fucking apologising for that."
So basically, in this instance, you asserted boundaries by saying, "Well, hey, I was genuinely trying." In context, I'm gonna, if you want to outline what happened, so people.
something to do with childhood type stuff. Somebody had got in contact with me to try and find somebody I know from.
Someone wanted to reconnect, basically.
Yeah, they wanted to reconnect from a very traumatic time in our lives. And because of the name changes and stuff, they found me. My name's pretty easy to find, so they just sort of went through a list of people with that name, at least the first name, and found my photo, and I looked vaguely like the little girl they used to know. So they sent me a message saying, do you know this person? Are you connected to them? Or have I got the wrong person? And I said, no, you've actually got the right person, but this is a bit awkward. I'm not sure they're going to want to talk with you. It's not because of you specifically, but because they used to be friends and stuff, not because of you specifically, but more because you would remind them of a time they don't really want to remember. So I'll talk to them and see what they say, but please don't be offended if they say they don't want to.
Yeah, fair response.
At which point I then contacted said person and was told not to reply to this person that had contacted me, but I already had. So I contacted a third party to sort of get a little bit of advice on how to handle this situation now. Because on the one hand, this person has said, do not contact them back really firmly. And on the other hand, I already have. And, it was just somebody trying to reconnect, but this one person got so paranoid that it was a trick. I don't know, it was just some kind of trick from our past, our childhood, that sort of thing, and they were going to get hurt or something. And I knew full well it wasn't, because when I looked at this person's profile and their photos, I recognised them.
Yeah.
From when I was about 6, below the age of 6, I recognised this person. So it wasn't a trick of any kind. So what the third party that I'd gone to for advice had said was just send a quick message back saying, look, they really don't want to reconnect, and it's nothing to do with you, it's just painful memories. So that's what I did. I thought all was well. I followed the advice of this person. I thought everything was fine. Not so much. About a week later, I got a message from the boundary pushing person to say, did I actually contact that person? And I went, oh crap. Now, I could lie and say no, but if he then has changed his mind and then decides to contact this person that was seeking them, they could say that I had. So there's no point in lying. So I'll say, yes, I did. And I said what I'd said. And I said that I'd got advice from this other person who's connected to us both. And I just got a few messages back saying, you can't fucking help yourself, can you? Blah, 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 blah. When I'd actually been crying my eyes out, worrying about how this person was going to react, and the fear they must be feeling, and the paranoia they were feeling, and various other bits and pieces. And I just wanted to help. But to get the abuse back, it was, do you know what? Fuck this. No way. I'm not putting up with this anymore. You do this to me every single time. Because you know what? I'm done. Go away, grow up, apologise, or we're not talking anymore. Just get out of my life.
Yeah, I mean, because essentially this person contacted you. Yeah. This person contacted you, and in my opinion, I mean, feel free to weigh in if you want. But in my opinion, I think you answered as honestly and fairly as you could. I mean, you didn't surrender.
What else did I say?
You didn't surrender any contact information. You didn't give a name that they could find.
I didn't give names, no.
All you said was, I can ask, try and see. But if he says no, you're going to have to respect that.
Yeah.
But, and to be honest, that's as fair as anyone. I mean, ignoring a request like that.
I mean, the problem is I have to be a bit vague about it.
Of course, it's very sensitive, you know. It's
yeah. I mean, if I could say the exact details, I would, and you'd all understand exactly where I'm coming from with this. But suffice to say, it's a very painful and traumatic reminder of a time in our life that was just shit. And whereas I've pretty much dealt with.
And just to be clear, this person that contacted you wasn't anything to do with the abuse. It was just someone you knew. They were a friend. They didn't do anything wrong.
Childhood friends, you know, like me and you, you know?
Yeah.
They had
nothing to do with the abuse.
Absolutely nothing to do with the abuse. And this other person got completely paranoid that it was something to do with the abuser. When it could not have possibly have done that.
No.
You know? I mean, the particular person who was the reason for all of the traumatic experiences would not have remembered this person's name. And they would not have gone out of their way to make a vague Facebook profile to contact me, of all people, to then try and contact this other person. You know, it was just absolute paranoia. And I tried to explain that, but, you know.
He just shut down and went into aggro mode. And
yeah. I mean, later on he said he was only joking when he said you just can't fucking help yourself. But
that's no joke.
It's not. I mean, I've had him say stuff like this to me before, and it wasn't a joke. So, yeah. I just reached my limit with it, and I'm like, you know what? Just grow up. You all you see is me being a fuck up of some description when I'm not. You don't see how much I've cried about all of this. You don't see how much I worried about you. All you see, sorry, getting upset.
Right.
All you see is what you want to see, and what you want to see is everybody's against you.
Yeah, you know? The world's against him, and he's the army of one.
Including against me, who I should actually be an ally, but most of the time I'm not. So, but you know, I'm just a fuck up. So, right? If you want me to be that, fine, I'll be that. Fuck off. Leave me alone. Grow up until you can apologise.
And
I'm not taking this shit anymore.
No, and you shouldn't. I mean, you can't control what other people think about you. You certainly can't, despite the fact that it's very clear that you're not what he thinks you are. You know,
it's convenient. Sometimes he thinks I'm that, sometimes he doesn't. You know, it's just whenever he decides that that's what I am, that's what I am.
And you know, no matter what you say or what you do or how you live your life, and it's not like you're trying to prove anything to him, you're just doing your thing.
I'm just doing my thing. I'm just living my life.
He has got this image of you, and that's it. Nothing can ever change that because he can't be wrong.
Totally didn't end there, though, did it? No. Yeah, lots of other stuff. I mean, obviously that was about 6, 7, 8 months ago now. And every few months or so, there'd be a sort of a grapevine message that they want it to come round to mine with this other person that I've gone to for advice because, you know, it was close to both of us. And my response was, no, not until they apologise. I'm not fucking apologising for that. You're not coming around then. This went on, and on and on until something really triggered it. And this is what triggered the toddler tantrum. Was it's going to sound stupid. Was my car. I passed my test, by the way.
Yeah. She finally has a license.
Yeah, that was actually, it's been that long, hasn't it, since we've done a video? Because the last time
you were still doing your lessons.
Yeah, no, I passed my test and I bought a fucking awesome car. But yeah, I I got this really nice car, and I was supposed to be going to pick up somebody, this other person that we're both close to come round to mine, as we do quite a lot. And this aggro person.
And just to be clear, we're not, when she says really nice car, it is a really nice car, but it's a Toyota Aygo, so it's the best she could afford for the budget she had, and it's not like it's
not brand new.
No, it's second hand.
It's second hand. I got a really good deal on it though.
Oh hell yeah!
But I saved up a lot of money for a deposit, and I'm paying the rest on finance over the next 5 years. But I'm looking at it as an investment, So I'm scrimping and saving my ass off to pay for this car, and excuse me, enjoying it, really enjoying it. I mean,
it's an achievement, and you worked hard for it. And it's a little car. And it's
little roller skate.
It's not like it's like an expensive sports car or anything like that.
It's not a bloody BMW or an Audi or
But it's nicer than the cars that other people have. That's the point.
And it's newer than the cars that other people have, and it's got more bells and whistles.
But anyway, we digress.
That's basically what basically set it off. Was I was going to go for the first time to pick up this person and bring them round, and the aggro guy he said he was going to meet us at mine, and I went, no, not until you apologise. This is like the 5th or 6th time I've said it. Not until you apologise. I'm not fucking apologising for that. He then proceeds to ring up this person that I'm picking up before I even got to theirs to pick them up, and had a go at them so bad about stuff. You don't spend any time with me, and you don't come round to mine. You love her more than you love me. Literally said that. And various other bits and pieces. And then by the time I got there, she was in tears. And then somebody else joined in because he'd gone and had
called the backup.
So she got a text message, quite a shitty text message, which she ignored. I managed to calm her down, and we came here. We were going to go walk the dog with my 2 kids, but we only got down the road before round 2 happened. And she was on the phone for half an hour, and we were just stood there. So I ended up sending the kids back home because we were supposed to be going for a walk. She couldn't. She was in fits, crying and shaking because he's given her flashbacks too. And it was literally there was something that said was, how is she affording that car? Wait, what? She hasn't got a job. Yeah, I do. I've got my own business, which you know about. It was bloody insane, and it took me about half an hour to get this person to hang up. Just hang up. Walk away from the situation, hang up, that sort of thing. Which eventually happened. And then I got a shitty message from the backup person that they'd run to, and I told them to fuck off as well, because I was done with it. I was absolutely done with it. I was like, this is insane. It's absolutely insane. They're kicking off about my car and then bringing a load of other shit into it, which isn't even relevant, and it's just a massive circular tantrum. So I decided that was it. I'm done. I am done. I can't control what the other person does, and I wouldn't even attempt to. If they want those people in their life, then that's fine, but I don't. I'm done. I'm fine. No way. I'm not putting up with it. Till he turned up on my doorstep, and I ended up having to run away from my own home because he came to apologise, didn't act actually apologise. The words "I'm sorry" never left his mouth.
Didn't you say something? It was like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or something.
Yeah,
like
there was a yeah. I'm sorry you feel like that way, but it wasn't. I'm sorry.
No, it was him trying to basically say, well, the problem is yours and yours alone, basically.
Yeah. But it got absolutely insane. I mean, he asked me for the truth about how I feel about him, and they're going, you really don't want the truth, do you? No, I want the truth. I want the truth. Right, okay, then, well, this is the truth. You scare me. Right, there are times you scare the crap out of me. You intimidate, you bully, you're quite controlling, and you don't listen, and there is a particular person you remind myself and this other person of sometimes. I know we're not saying that you are that person or that it's your fault per se, but your attitude is your fault. But you can be quite an asshole at times, and it causes anxiety, it causes flashbacks, and it's just very, very uncomfortable, and you just don't listen, you know. And so he did this whole, oh yeah, go on then, tell me what exactly is it that makes you scared of me, doing the whole head bob thing. And I'm like, that right there, you know, that
confrontational, smug, poppy
shit. And it's just, you say, a couple of times I had to leave the room because he was just, and I wasn't personally attacking him. He asked me for the truth about how I feel, so I told him, and he didn't like it.
So then he further had a tantrum and tried to convince you you're wrong, and here's his view, and you need to buy into that, otherwise he's going to continue to kick off. Because you need to pander to his ego and this bullshit false image that he's projecting.
Yeah, it was insane, but yeah, so it did put me into a big fight or flight mode that I was just not in control of. I mean, my neighbour, bless her, I didn't realise at the time, but she'd come out because she heard a bit of commotion. She realised what I was going to do, which was drive off in the state that I was in, and she said, Annika, come in here. Of course, I didn't realise it was her that was talking to me. I thought it was the other two, because somebody else had turned up at the time. And I just sort of didn't even look at her and screamed no. As I'm walking out the gate, I thought somebody was going to grab me, so I turned and screamed, leave me alone, which I didn't mean to do. I realised afterwards they weren't going to grab me, but when you're in that state and you're getting all of these flashbacks and you just have to get out of there because you feel backed into a corner and pressured and in danger, one little movement can remind you of things that have already happened, so you react in a way that is not like you at all. And at that moment, I wasn't me.
It's basically you were in post-traumatic flashback mode.
Yeah, I was totally in PTSD mode. PTSD mode. Yeah. Yeah, there was no getting me out of it. Had they got too close, I think I probably would have physically lashed out.
Yeah.
Because that's how much in danger I felt.
It's like when you back a scared cat into a corner and they start...
Or a dog, yeah, you know,
or a dog,
any kind of little animal. If you back them into a corner, they will lash out, and it's just defensive mode, you know, it's just one of those...
It's the last stand kind of thing.
Yeah, and I was in... Unfortunately, that particular incident has kicked off quite a serious health issue with me, and that's what made me decide I've really got to sort this shit out, because I can't do this anymore.
No, I mean...
I really can't do this
Yeah.
anymore.
I mean, we all know it, and we all read that, you know, you got to keep your stress low because stress is bad for you, and we don't really give stress
We were saying this in a different video. We were actually talking about all of the health issues that can come from having major stress and anxiety all the time, and the cortisol levels being elevated all the time. I'm fucking living proof of it. You know, we were talking about it, and all right, I wasn't really feeling as ill as I am now, but that one incident has kicked this off big time, and it is proof of what we were saying. I'll say the issue. My stomach is eroding itself. Yeah. And I went to the doctors about it because I've got a lot of pain in my abdomen area, and they were basically, have you got any stress in your life?
Where do I begin?
Yeah. So I've got a list of foods that I can't eat for a while. I've got a month's worth of drugs. I mean, it's not a major thing right now, but if I don't get this sorted, it could be.
Your body is literally telling you, if you're not going to listen to your mind, you're going to listen to it physically, because it's breaking. It's stress literally breaks you. You know, it's... Yeah,
so the things that we were talking about before with the stress and how it can affect your body, trust me, I am living it right now. So, or at least one of them. I mean, it does several things. I mean, for example, you've got bowel tendinitis in your body.
Yeah, I was actually going to get on to that as well, because it's, with the amount of chronic stress that I have been under dealing with this end, it's not coming out mentally, but it sure as hell is coming out physically. And I've been struggling with lower back pain for quite some time now. It doesn't really stop me, but it sure as hell slows me down, and I'm really not capable of doing what I used to do before it started hurting, that's for sure. But with the recent events that have happened with, and I'm just going to say it is with my family, and the way they have been, just the way they've been, it's appalling. It's beyond appalling. I mean, with all due respect to your honesty, I'm really not up for rehashing that very long story.
No, that's fine. We'll probably do it
in another video, because
if you feel up to it, because to try and explain what you've been through with your family at the moment.
Yeah, because it's such a long story. I think it's gonna need a different video.
Let's just say it's a mammoth, never-ending thing, and some of the behaviour is beyond appalling and borderline evil, actually.
Yeah.
And
they have actively and willfully been adding insane amounts of stress at a time when I need to be healing, and I really don't need this extra stress. And this extra stress is optional. They don't have to be doing this, but they are choosing. They are choosing to, and it is evil. I would say it's straight up evil in places. And it got to the point where it has climaxed for me, and I have made the very difficult decision to actually go no contact, because despite me attempting to maintain and put up my boundaries, they're
not taking heed of what you're saying at all with your boundaries.
When I put up a boundary, not only do they tear it down, but they shit on it.
Yeah, it's pretty much. That is exactly.
And then I get punished. And then I get punished because I dared to try and put down a boundary. And that will almost broke me mentally.
They project every single thing that they're doing onto you. And it's not just one, it's three of them at the moment. And I am utterly disgusted and angry for you. So suffice to say, to try and explain all of that is going to take more time than we probably have right now.
Yeah, it's not that I'm being secretive about it.
No.
That's again, where the hell do I begin? But the point is, taking that that step to go no contact is
a big step, dude.
Is so hard. And again, that's also another video topic that I would like to cover with you later. And I'm sure you guys are interested to hear of when it is time to say enough is enough. I mean, because in both of our incidences, there are cases with you where you have to go no contact, but then at the same time you need to maintain controlled boundaries and limited contact. With you, it's not so quite black and white. Whereas with me, I have reached that point of controlled contact is just not an option, because
no, it's not.
They're not willing to even bend an inch.
They're not willing to give a little. They are just, it's their way or
the highway. Yeah. So with me, I got to the point where one day I came home from work, and it wasn't exactly like it was a particularly stressful day or strenuous day, but I came through the door, and this was about, let's say, 2 months ago now? Did you say? Do you remember when yeah. And I took
it should be a little bit more than that. It has to go a bit.
Yeah, but no more than 3 months, I would say.
No, it wouldn't be more than that. No.
Yeah. So I came in. I was literally crying in pain just by taking my coat and put my bag down.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and it came out of nowhere, and...
That was, was it your elbow?
It was my shoulder, my left shoulder.
It was the shoulder again?
Yeah. It was the same thing.
That's twice, isn't it? Jeez.
Yeah.
So you called me straight away, basically.
Yeah, and I was like, I need a distraction because this pain is too much, and I had just taken a painkiller. I said, please just help me through this, because this was pain like I had never really felt. I mean, I was even comparing it to childbirth.
Yeah.
You know, and I went to the doctor, and she prescribed some basically physiotherapy, and I started going, and I think I got 4 or 5 treatments, and it got to the point where he was saying, I can help you, but you are so stiff, you are so stressed, that if I continue, I will hurt you. I will hurt you, and I don't want to do that, and I'm sure you don't want that. And I went, no. So he literally, the stress was preventing him from doing his job and treating me. And I had to stop. And for a little while...
You didn't want to get punched either.
Yeah, I said I felt like I would punch him if he continues to see he didn't want to get punched either. So, but it's not like... because what he was doing was deliberate.
Wasn't it? I hate you. It was probably just going to be a reflex thing.
Yeah, because it was really starting to hurt me. And he essentially stopped the treatment because I needed to relax a little bit more. So I was trying to relax, but the stress was too much, and I went on a little while. I kept, the exercises up. I took the pain medication, the anti-inflammatories, because the tendons were and the muscles were quite stressed, if not damaged. And I continued to work through it, just being careful. And I think the Tuesday just passed, which is 5 days ago. I was in tears again. My shoulder was just as painful. I went to the doctor, and she said, it's tendonitis.
The point of that is what triggered you to really take in hand what the stress that's going on, which is what's causing this, and that's why you've gone on that, really. Not just because your body is now screaming at you, but because of the things that they're actually doing, and how it is now affecting everything in your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything, including this.
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously not in an adverse way. I mean, I love you, dude. You know, but having to see you go through this, and obviously a little bit of the focus has been to do with me, but we'll go into that at some other point. It's just evil. It just, no. So
it's basically make or break. It's make or break.
I think the funny thing was one of your family members said something about loyalty.
Yeah.
And family loyalty, and you went, I am being family loyal, but not to you.
To my actual family, not my family of origin, you know, because...
Not your blood relatives, because how exactly have they been family to you? Considering the things that they are doing and saying.
Yeah.
So, dude, I know that has been a really hard thing for you to do. Well, so much so it's affecting you physically now.
Yeah, I mean, it's having negative impacts on how I am towards my husband as well. I mean, I'm gonna put my hands up. I've been a bitch to him. I've really been a bitch to him, and it's not because I want to. It's
but
I am so not in control of the emotions in certain places, and then it just comes to a head, and it's not like it's personal or anything, but it's
just frustration. We all do it. I mean, sometimes when I'm having a particularly stressful day, if the girls are sort of doing usual kiddie stuff, sometimes I'll just snap at them, and then I'll go, why did I snap at them like that? You know? So it's things like that, and as long as you go and apologise for it, he understands what's going on. He's obviously in the throes. He's in the middle of it with you, right there with you. So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't make it right, but
it doesn't make it right. It makes it understandable. At least you're aware of it, and you can repair it afterwards.
Yeah, and this is the thing, you know. I mean, the whole silver lining to this is it's really a test of learning to...
Oh, dude, you have learned so much.
I am so educated in life right now. Where's my diploma?
You freaking well need one, I swear to God.
I need my fucking... what's it? Oh God, shit.
The cap and the gown and the little...
Yeah, that's it. And the fucking... Where's my master's?
Graduation shit.
Yeah, I want my graduation shit. I don't know what I'm asking for. I don't know the names of it. Give me my graduation.
Yeah, you are certainly graduating from the University of Life at the moment. Dear God.
In a nutshell, that's pretty much what happens when you don't enforce boundaries.
Yeah.
People will, I mean, you can put them up. By all means, you can put them up and you can be aware of it. But if you are meeting nothing but resistance, it's, you know, at
not
some
just
point...
because there's resistance, and then there's straight up sort of not
disrespect.
Yeah,
being a bulldozer, basically.
Yeah. And if that's what you're meeting, then you kind of have to go to the next step.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's as many of you may know, it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's also something that I was really thinking about, because in these incidences, you kind of, well, we're all programmed that family is everything. That no matter what, blood is thicker than water, and I said it in my previous video that's really not the case. That is really not the case. But I digress.
Actually, that's the point. Hang on. It was a point that this person that I was talking about had said, might as well say it's family. And when I was saying, I told you this as well, I was trying to say, because he started flipping things and saying about my issues, and I went, I know what my issues are, and this is me trying to fix that. And he said, okay, so I'm some sort of experiment then, am I? And I went, yeah, kinda, yeah, you know. Oh, I suppose it's easier to do with family than it is friends. And I went, no, actually, it's harder. It's harder to do with family.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot harder to do with family, and that is because of this family comes first attitude, and family is the be all and end all type thing. Blood is thicker than water, but just like you say,
it's really not.
It's not. And it's difficult to get out of that mindset sometimes. I mean, you grow up with these people, it is ingrained into you that you have got to keep connections with them, especially when shit hits the fan type thing with a lot of other things.
I mean, okay, it depends what shit is hitting the fan, because, you know, obviously families stick together when there is genuine love and that need for support, and as a family, quote unquote, should be. But if it's just the fact that you are the trash can or the family toilet, for want of a better toy.
If you have a loving family, then yeah, sure. But if your family has been nothing but toxic, for lack of a better word, then sometimes no contact or
walking away,
very, very limited contact is the way to go. It's like you said, you know, sometimes family is not family.
Especially if they don't act like family should.
If they don't act like it, yeah.
And the thing, you know, I was made to feel a lot of shame, and guilt. And to be honest, I had... Oh yeah, but this is kind of the aha moment. You know, that and I hope this aha moment or realization actually helps anyone that may be watching this that has gotten to the point where I need to walk away, but they're my family, and you're feeling torn. And this is kind of what that... Well, I would say that the thing that really tipped the scales for me. So if family is really be all and end all, and that the connection to blood is all that really matters when it comes to love and binding, I mean, no matter what that love may be perceived to be by whoever's giving it, whether it's toxic, quote unquote, love, and I use those quotation marks heavy with the toxic setting, or if it's genuine love. Now, if it's the toxic love and it's just harmful and detrimental, and a child, for instance, is suffering, or children, or someone that is in a vulnerable position and is in no way able to care for themselves, but are dependent on these abusive or toxic people, then that's when social services get called in. And that's when children are removed, or this vulnerable person is removed and placed in better care or a more healthy... Now, when people need to remove children from their parents, and this is something that happens, unfortunately, all too much on a very large scale globally, if there are systems in place that say that in these cases, these vulnerable people and children are not better off with their family, then that should tell you something. When people have to rip you away and you aren't aware of anything better, that is the biggest wake-up call, because it's when you're away from that madness that your eyes really begin to open. You're like, wow, this really isn't normal. This really isn't how people do this. And that was kind of the aha moment for me. Well, okay, I wasn't taken away, but I'm taking myself away. And with that decision came the whole, well, I've got no one to tell me really that what happened, well, I had no one to tell me that what was happening to me as a child was not normal. How my family behaved was not normal, because for me it was normal. And when I removed myself from that situation, which was almost 10 years ago now, and I had that physical distance, that was when I started to realise, well, no, this isn't normal.
Yeah.
This isn't all right. And it's been 10 years before I got to the point of saying, whoa, and I'm 33, you know, whoa, what has happened to me? What happened to the child version of me? That's
not okay.
Not okay. And then when you try to take active steps to correct it, and you start enforcing these boundaries that you were never allowed to have before, and they're like, what the fuck is this? You know, what are you doing? You know,
why are you putting this barrier in between me and getting what I want from you? Excuse me.
Right, this is not the job we have given you. Why are you being so belligerent? And if that is what I was met with every time. And it took me so long to realise that even though I was trying my best and thought I had boundaries, they just weren't being respected, and I was getting drained because of this.
Yeah. Very
and
much so.
Like you, it got to the point where I realised not only physically in myself, but how it's affected my relationship, how it's affected my adult life, how it would have basically affected Kaylee. They had already disrespected her by proxy because they consider her an extension of me.
Yeah.
And the real tipping point for me was when I realised that even while I was pregnant with her, all the stress that they made me feel on purpose, she felt. So in her very short life, she was not even safe from their bullshit, and they would have happily continued to make my life a living hell and deprive that girl of a home and the love and attention that she deserved. And for me, that's the line.
Yeah.
It was starting to become transgenerational, and that's not okay either.
That's the thing. It's something I had to say to this person that I was talking about earlier when I was pregnant, because there was things that were going on, difficulties, emotional difficulties, and he did this whole bullshit tantrum type thing again. But I'd had to say, can we not do this right now? Because right now, it's not just you and me in this conversation. It's not just you and me in this situation. And he went, yeah, it is. And I went, no, it's not. No, it's not. Because everything I feel, this baby feels. So everything you are making me feel, she feels too.
Yeah.
And I'm not having that. So what you're saying is correct there, because everything they put you through, she felt.
And they put me through a lot.
They really did. They really did. And it didn't even stop after she was born, and it didn't even stop after
she had died.
Yeah.
And it still hasn't.
It got worse. In fact, it got worse.
Yeah. It got a whole lot worse. So, yeah, if you get to that point, you need to realise one thing. People that do not listen, people that do not respect your boundaries, people that do nothing but bring negativity and stress and drama and anxiety, and
they belittle you. They dismiss your actual life. They dismiss the importance of your life, because you are nothing but fuel to them. You are nothing but something that they can toy with. You are there to serve them.
Nothing else.
And nothing else. If these people are continuing this, no matter what happens, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter how much you plead with them to stop. If they don't do that, you really don't have much choice but to say,
I'm out.
I'm out, yeah. I mean, you can try the limited contact thing, but if people are that bad, you haven't really got much choice but to go no contact.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult thing to do, but eventually, once the dust settles and things calm down, you will feel so much better for it.
Yeah. Okay. As you can see, I'm in my other recording spot, peeps. So, which means we had
a rather interruption.
Yeah, just a little interruption that kind of threw us through a loop.
Yeah, because I've completely forgotten what we were saying now, so it's going to be a bit bumpy. We may repeat ourselves, perhaps, or just go completely in a different direction.
Yeah, because I can't show what happened because it's too gratuitous.
No, you really can't. You really can't. Let's just say it was a little bit more than I was expecting to see.
You got more than you bargained for.
I did.
So
yeah, but for the sake of dignity and stuff, we won't even mention what happened.
No, could have happened anyway.
But it was fun.
It was.
Yeah.
Really. So we were talking about what happens when you
don't enforce your boundaries.
Well, when you try to enforce your boundaries.
Or when you try to, that's it.
Yeah. And when it's time to talk, when it's time to walk away.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we're just.
You were talking about what you were trying to do, and when you put up a boundary, people go, "Wait, hang on, what? We're not used to this. We don't like it. We'd rather you just were our little source of fuel type thing." That's what we were going on.
Yeah.
Just as a recap. So to continue from that.
And then I got to
give you an example.
Sorry, yeah. So basically, and we covered if you're having doubts to walk away. So I think that's
yeah. I mean, I could give you an example of my lack of boundaries with a certain friend of mine, and the consequences of that. For example, like this is a female friend of mine, or kind of sort of was. I'm not really sure. But I've known this person a very, very long time, and I've mentioned her before. But the lack of boundaries that I had meant that I was just a plaything for her, and she thought she could do pretty much whatever she wanted, which included what is tantamount to sexual assault from a female friend of mine. Yeah, she'd have a bit too much to drink, and suddenly she'd be attached to my neck and grabbing places. And I'm not straight. She isn't either. I'm not saying I'm gay either. I'm something in between. I'm not sure what it was. So there has always been a little bit of flexibility.
Blurred lines.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Blurred lines in the past, but at this particular point, I had made myself clear that was never going to happen again. We haven't really got very far with any of that anyway, but there was always a little bit of touching and that sort of thing. And I decided I didn't really feel like that way about her, so didn't really want to do that anymore. I'm grown up, sort of approaching 30s, getting over the age of 30, different time, different life, all of that got put to bed, but she wasn't in that place. So there was a lot of using me as I mean, she tried to get me in bed with her and her boyfriend, let's put it that way. And I was having none of it. But yeah, pretty much every time she'd have a drink, she would just get really grabby. And nothing I could do, nothing I could say would get her to stop. To the point where her boyfriend would be sat there looking really crestfallen because I was getting all the attention he should have had. And I kept saying to her, no, sort of, just go and do this to him. Go and do this to him. You know, don't do this. And she wouldn't. I mean, I'd get bent over stuff and dry humped. That's how bad it was sometimes. So that's really the lack of boundaries I've had has sort of created that. And I was trying to enforce them, but it wasn't really successful with it. This friend is now, there's a physical distance there. She moved away. And quite a big emotional distance as well. You know, it just got to the point where it can't really be prepared in the way she wants it to be repaired.
It will never be the same again, kind of thing.
No. So basically what I'm saying is boundaries are important, and enforcing boundaries are important because it can lead to breakdowns in friendships and partnerships, like with romantic interests and family, as we were talking about. Excuse me. But it's one of those things where I can't really say how to put these boundaries up because I'm still struggling myself, as you are as well. All you can do is say this is not acceptable behaviour, and every time somebody crosses over that line, you have to be strong enough to say, no, this is where the boundary line is. And if they don't respect that, then you have the hard choice of saying, well, if you're not going to respect this boundary, then we can't have any kind of relationship.
There's nowhere to go from here if you're not prepared to be flexible and meet me halfway.
No, because trust is down, and if you haven't got,
sorry,
yeah. If they are,
you lagged a little bit. What did you say?
I said it's trust, really. If they're continually pushing your boundaries, crossing your boundaries, and making you feel very uncomfortable with the things they're doing, then trust gets broken. And if you haven't got trust, you haven't really got anything.
No, trust is one of the key, well, if not the foundation, of any relationship.
Very much so. And with this particular person and a lot of other people in my life, I don't have trust for them anymore because of the boundary breaking. I mean, it's not like I didn't have boundaries, but I was just not very good at enforcing them. I'd say that this was a boundary, and then they just continued to do it, and there wasn't much I could say or do because they wouldn't listen.
Yeah, and then you find yourself kind of making excuses, and even though it's like you're making excuses for them.
All their behaviour, yeah.
But in a way, when you really analyse that behaviour, it's just as bad on our part because...
That's true, yeah.
We are enabling it at that point. We are taking the easy way because although we're giving them the excuse, we are basically, in its essence, saying that, well, this is too much for me to fight and I can't be bothered. And if you can't be bothered, you can't really be in a position to complain about it, as harsh as that sounds.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, and I agree with you in
and that goes for me as well. I'm not preaching, but that goes for anyone.
No, that's true. Yeah, sorry about that. Another interruption. But, what I was saying was I think with the childhood environment that you and I had, we weren't actually allowed to have boundaries, so we were never taught to enforce our boundaries, and we never actually learned how to do this thing. So it sort of has a domino effect into your adult life where, while I agree with you that a lot of this stuff is our fault as well, because we have enabled people like this, we were not taught how to deal with these things in a healthy way.
We were told to just accept these things.
Yeah, we were basically told that our feelings and our opinions and our boundaries did not matter. So we have taken that into adult life, and it has actually caused a lot of problems, because people, like we've said before, we attract these certain people that are quite toxic. I mean, you and I tend to find ourselves in the midst of a lot of people like these, and they learn very, very quickly that we don't have the tools that we need to basically tell them that their behaviour is not acceptable. And if we try, they only have to do a certain few things, and it will be us backing down rather than them.
Like they teach us commands.
It's their behaviour. Yeah.
That there are consequences should we go against these commands.
Yeah, but there's no consequences for them. You know, it's not like our boundaries are unreasonable. It's just, please don't talk to me like I'm a piece of shit, or please don't physically abuse me, or, you know, those sorts of things. But if we sort of say, this is not acceptable, you're making me uncomfortable, you're hurting me, they'll go, well, you're hurting me for saying that I'm hurting you.
And they'll flip it around. And
they'll flip it around. So we just haven't had the tools to be able to do it, which is what we're trying to do now. But what you find is, because a lot of the people in our lives are so used to us not having these boundaries, they really don't like it now that we're trying to have them.
No. Oh, I'm sorry, the dogs are making some weird noises. Keep cool.
That's okay. It's okay.
So sorry. Carry on.
Yeah, so, yeah, in a way it is our fault. Kind of fault is a strong word. We have enabled a lot of people to abuse us. But that's because we weren't taught how to stop it. Because of the environments that we grew up in.
Yeah. We didn't know any better. And we're only now just starting to learn.
It was normal. Yeah, and it's a very difficult thing to learn at a later point in your life, which is one of the reasons I do what I do with my girls, which is try and teach them to have boundaries with their friendships and things like that, because I don't want them to be 33 and struggling with this shit, you know.
Not this kind of thing that's supposed to be taught in childhood, and these are supposed to be defining lessons and characteristics to a young child, but yeah, we're learning that as an adult.
I've sort of noticed it's a knock-on effect though with things, and it's difficult to explain. My mum doesn't have a lot of boundaries, and she has problems with boundaries and enforcing her boundaries, but that's because her parents treated her the same way, you know, like she was just an accessory, something to toy with, a house slave, that sort of thing. Basically, childminder for their other children, her sisters. And that's because their parents taught them that. So our parents, and my father's was very much the same. So my grandparents got taught how to behave, and it was toxic. My parents got taught how to behave, and it was sort of toxic or enabling, and before they taught us to do it. And yet we are the generation going, this shit is not acceptable. I'm not sure how to change it, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, we're not saying that everyone from that generation...
Oh, God, no. It's just the families that we've been brought up in.
Yeah.
It's quite fucked up.
It's insanity, for want of a better word. I mean, well, not even for want of a better word, it is... It's just madness.
It really is. Yeah, so boundaries are important, okay?
Right. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, so it's basically like if you've been watching or reading or educating yourself about these boundaries and enforcing them, and when people just completely disrespect them, it just goes to show why they are important. And if you don't, it will never stop, because they have no reason to stop. As long as it's making them feel good or fulfilling some sort of purpose for them, they have no reason to stop. And they will not stop. I mean, a normal, healthy person that is doing something that can resemble toxic or maybe bordering on the toxic behavior, if you speak to them and they are genuinely unaware of what they're doing and they make those active decisions to change, then fine. But when you are repeatedly trying to communicate with these people that this is not acceptable, and each time you do, they kind of they do it again, but then they kick it up a notch each time, and that's a sign of not only are they unwilling to change, but they are punishing you and showing you, well, if you thought that was bad, I'm gonna
you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, pretty much. It's also kind of made me think of something that I saw, and it was just a random Facebook joke, and it kind of really got me thinking about just how toxic some things that our parents can say that do invalidate us, that do kind of intimidate us.
Yeah.
And it's something we've probably all heard at some point or another, but I remember hearing it very frequently, almost every time there was an upset. And that saying being was, if you don't stop crying, I'm going to give you something
to cry about.
Yeah. Now, when you break that down, that is actually a very disturbing thing to say. Because what they're saying in essence is, what you are feeling is nothing, and if you continue with this ridiculous behaviour, I will inflict more pain on you.
Yeah.
That's basically what that means. And okay, maybe it's something that a lot of people heard, even if they did come from a healthy family, but I think that's one thing that you should really never say to a child, or anyone for that matter.
I have always sort of, the things that I heard growing up, not just from parents and stuff, but from other people's parents or teachers and stuff like that, I've always made a conscious effort not to say things like that, especially the do as I say, because...
do as I say, not as I do. Or
do as I say, not as I do, or the because I said so, because on your mum, you know?
Because I know better.
Because for me, it's, well, if you're not going to lead by example, you have no right to criticise your children's behaviour.
Yeah.
Also, if they are genuinely questioning something and you just say, just do it because I said so, well, it teaches them that they're questioning things. It doesn't matter either. So
you're teaching them to follow orders, not requests, basically.
Yeah. I know with now and again, you just say, oh, can you just do it? Because you don't have time to explain to them why they've got to do it, or you have explained to them before. But generally speaking, I will say, if I've done that, I will go back and say, look, this is why I'm asking you to do these things. Right, so just please do as I ask you, not tell you, ask you, although there have been times when I've said, I've told you to do this, to just do it. But that's a different thing. You know, there's slight variations to these things.
Yeah, it depends on the context, I guess.
The context. But, yeah. there's no manual for these things, but it's something that I noticed that was a bit of a domino effect with at least my family, with how my grandparents were treated, and then how they treated my parents, and then how I got treated, and now how I've looked at that all and gone, right, that shit ain't right. I'm not doing that with my kids. I'm gonna do this instead, and it seems to be working okay. So.
And you've said it yourself, how there's been comments about how yours are actually very well behaved.
They have their issues, they're not perfect. Because
of course, no, they're kids, no one's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. But I will not say that I've nailed parenting, because I certainly have not. But I try very hard to be open and honest with the things that I do and say. Because they're very switched on kids. You think they're not, but they are. So be honest with them. And perhaps they won't end up like this, struggling.
Cautionary tales right here.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of lag going on, dude.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I think we're back. Say what you were going to say.
My daughter had an issue with a friend or a couple of friends that were quite mean to her for no reason, so she got very upset. She started crying about it because this girl was sending a lot of really nasty text messages for no reason, just because some other girl had been shit stirring. And this was one of her best friends, I think. This was going back about 10 months ago now.
Yeah, I remember this incident vaguely.
Yeah. And she didn't know what to do about it, so because I was learning these things at the time, I sort of said, look, this is what you have to do. If she's been very disrespectful to you, clearly she said that she doesn't want to be friends with you anymore, so that's fine. Leave it at that. The girl then tried to contact her a further few times, and I said to my daughter, do not respond. Do not respond at all, not until she apologizes for what she's done. And then it got to the point where this girl was getting desperate for my daughter's attention. They'd gone back to school, because it was over the summer holidays this had happened. They'd gone back to school, and she was doing anything she could to get some attention from my daughter, which included bumping into her and going, oh, sorry, on purpose, dropping things by her, and oh, sorry, just trying to get anything from her. Until eventually she sent a message saying, why aren't you talking to me? And I went, right, this is what you say.
Yeah.
And it actually worked. It worked. We got a genuine apology from the girl, but unfortunately the friendship sort of withered a little bit, because it never really recovered from the shock of being treated the way she had been treated.
Yeah.
And she put up her boundaries, and the girl didn't really like it, so kind of moved on. She wanted the friendship back, but it never really recovered. But the way I sort of said to my daughter was, these things happen. Not all of the people that you're friends with now you will have in your life when you're my age. And it's best to weed out the ones that cause you emotional damage rather than try and hang on to them. So she's okay with it. I mean, they're still civil, but
It was a valuable lesson learned early, I think.
It was a valuable lesson. Yes, very much so. That's all you can really do. I mean, there was no point in me marching around there and demanding an apology, because that was going to escalate the situation and cause loads of drama that was unnecessary. So it was just teaching my daughter how to handle it, and she did it. She did what was suggested, and it did work. But there were a few consequences of trust being broken, and that was it. Without trust, you don't have very much.
Exactly, and if it is repairable, it takes a lot of work and a lot of time.
It does, and I don't think the effort was put in by the other girl. So
no,
it just.
No. But I think the nice thing about that situation, but it taught both children a valuable lesson. I mean, it genuinely. I mean, okay. Anyone listening and say, "Oh, but you ignored the text." No. You ignored just hey, nothing happened kind of text.
It was sort of. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. Yeah. She was testing the water, but completely dismissing that she had been quite nasty for no reason. So that is the ones that I was saying do not respond to. Once she eventually said, "Why aren't you?"
Yeah. When she had that time. Sorry, you cut out what we said. It's when you said she asked why. You cut. And then
she asked why. Yeah, why aren't you speaking to me?
And that was, she had had time to reflect enough to actually ask that question. So then she was then open to having that conversation. Hey, sorry, back again, peeps. We had some massive internet connection problems. So, recap, where were we again?
We were talking about the lessons for both children because we hadn't ignored the girl. Well, we'd sort of not responded to the messages where she was just testing the water, completely dismissing what she did and what she said. But when she genuinely said, "Why aren't you talking?"
Yeah, she had time to really reflect on it, and that's when, and that's where I was. So unconsciously, or as a byproduct, you taught that girl a valuable lesson that this is not okay. And if you are going to wrong someone, you've got to prepare to be genuine if you want to reconnect. And I don't think that's a lesson that kid is soon going to forget.
No, probably not. Let me say they're sort of civil with each other. They're friendly, they talk, but it's not the same, because I don't think my daughter got over the shock of having one of her best friends whom she adored treating her like that for no reason whatsoever, for things that weren't her fault. Like, for example, I couldn't drive, so she couldn't go over her house. I don't live anywhere nearby. So this other girl that had been stirring a little bit was saying that my daughter was not her friend because she wasn't over there all the time, and didn't go over her house. She, that sort of thing, that she didn't message all the time. But what this girl was not understanding was that my daughter is split between two houses. So in one instance, while we live nearer than her father does, when she goes over there, she's having time with her family over there. So she can't just pick up on things. And also, she's not allowed to go on her phone 24/7. So, sometimes messages were not received until a bit later.
So basically, this is a good example of not showing any understanding. I mean, okay, they're kids. They're what, about 13 years old? Something like that?
No, only 11.
Oh, sorry, 11. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm skipping ahead a couple of years. Yeah.
It was 10 at the time, but 11 now. So old enough to understand that things are a bit complicated in people's lives. She could have just asked, "Why don't you come over?" But she didn't.
But it's a good example. Like I said, this is how and when you learn to communicate. In those years in those formative years.
Yeah. And it's only going to get worse as we hit teenage years, so I've got to be prepared for that.
Exactly. But you taught them, you taught them how to be adult about it. And I remember you saying, actually not so long later, when Robin had a problem, your younger daughter, and I'll let you tell that part because you were proud.
Remind me.
Well, basically, Robin was also having a problem, and you gave some advice. I can't remember exactly what it was now. And May turns around and says, "You want to listen to me?"
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It was an issue with somebody being physically violent Although I shouldn't really go into who and what, but there was some physical violence from somebody that the girls are quite close to. And it's nothing that there's not really very much I could do about it. And I'd advise them to speak to the adult around
that was responsible.
That was responsible for all of the children. And I thought that she had, but apparently she hadn't. But I was teaching them how to diffuse situations, because this particular boy was getting irate for what she couldn't understand, no reason at all, and then getting physically violent with her. She ended up getting punched in the face 3 times in one day, you know. So it wasn't a good situation, and so I sort of tried to say, look, this is how you diffuse situations before you get to that point. And you just say to him, look, I'm gonna go now before things get out of control, but if you want to talk to me about whatever it is that's bothering you, because there must be something bothering you, then this is where I'm going to be. And if that doesn't work and he then starts getting physically violent, I taught them some self-defense methods. And also, well, I shouldn't really advocate it, if things do get violent and the self-defense isn't working, punch back, you know.
Well, that is self-defense, to be fair.
It is, but I was sort of more along the lines of trying to block, trying to guard your body, that sort of thing, defensive stances, that sort of thing. But if shit hits the fan and all of those things that you have tried are not working, smack them back. Because
that's your last resort.
That is the last resort. Sometimes, unfortunately, that is the only thing people will listen to. But while I was teaching them all of this, Robin sort of was getting a bit, and May turned around and she went, listen, because actually Mummy knows what she's talking about, because she helped me with the situation with this girl, and it really worked. So she's got good advice. And I went, oh, cool.
And this is the point, you know, we had no adult giving us that advice and teaching us how to respectfully respect boundaries, but enforce them, and with that have that self-respect.
I mean, I can remember one issue where a girl that was a friend of mine had been physically violent to me, and all my mum did was drag me round to that girl's house and have a go at the mother. And I felt like shit. I mean, I'm crying. I'm worried about what's going to happen, because this girl has hurt me physically to the point where I had a bruise about the size of my hand on my leg. She kicked me with a pair of Doc Martens and chased me on a bike. And I was terrified, you know. There was a group of people chasing me, and they were trying to put sticks through my bike spokes so that I flipped. You know, it was quite scary. But my mum, instead of trying to teach, I mean, obviously I'd get really, really pissed if shit like that happened with my girl. But I try and do it in a different way. But she marched me round to this girl's house. And it was a fair distance to walk on a leg that was really hurting. So I'm in tears, I'm scared already. My mum is angry, which was already making me feel quite frightened as well. And I'm of the mindset where it's don't make a fuss, don't make a fuss, don't make a fuss. It escalated to the point where this girl's mum started stalking me whilst I was at school and trying to intimidate me. She flat out denied her daughter did anything. Oh, my daughter wouldn't do anything like that. And I'm thinking, well, she did, and I'm not going to lie about it. Why would I say it's her when it wasn't? But the rage of my mum was obviously Mama Bear, grr, but it wasn't helping.
It stoked the fire, basically.
It stoked the fire, and because this girl's mum then started stalking me at school, she'd stand outside the window of my classroom just staring at me. And of course I didn't want to make a fuss, so I didn't tell the teacher. And I try and ignore her as best I can, but this went on for a couple of weeks. And the incident was forgotten between me and the girl about...
But she held the grudge.
But she held the grudge. She held the grudge, and I didn't tell anybody. So I can remember those sorts of incidents where going in guns blazing did not work. It just made my life worse. And it made me feel more intimidated and frightened.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to do the same things, because I could have with this situation, and
but
eventually
it would have achieved nothing.
It wouldn't have achieved anything. And eventually I did have to speak to the adult in charge, because the boy then tried it on with May, and she punched him in the face.
Oh, yeah. She went into big sister mode.
She went into big sister mode. Well, she'd done all of the things that I'd said, which was try and diffuse the situation, and then sort of say, defensive stances and everything. And then he punched her, so she punched him back. But of course, he then shoved her head quite hard, and she had a big bruise and everything. So that was when I stepped in and went, right. Not very happy about this. Can you please talk to this child and say, keep your hands to yourself? And that's when I realized that actually that particular adult didn't know what was going on. How? I don't know. My daughters hadn't said anything when I thought they had. But
either way, it was undetected, and we're not going to get into shoulds and shoulds.
But it got resolved that way. So, but I didn't go in guns blazing. I just went, look, can you please sort this situation out, because it's not good. And so it got sorted. But I think sometimes with the guns blazing thing, it just makes things worse. So there are times when the passive route and the advice route and going no contact really does work more than going rah.
Yeah, I mean, it's as the old saying goes, sometimes nothing speaks louder
than silence.
Yeah, silence speaks louder, sorry. I completely fucked that saying up. Yeah.
It's okay. I know what you meant. It's all right. Derp away.
Good. So, I guess that's really the bottom line, And we're going to definitely expand on the whole how to enforce boundaries.
Please teach me.
Because, this has basically just been an airing of our recent experiences kind of video, and just so that you can kind of see the consequences and that you're really not alone. But we will go a little bit deeper into how to go about it, and some coping mechanisms when it does get tough, because at that point this is what we're kind of testing out ourselves. And I mean, we can say what you should be doing because we've read it all and we've heard it all and we've been advised. And
at the end of the day, if we're not doing it ourselves, we're kind of hypocrites.
Well, we are, but we're coming against these struggles, and we are now facing the consequences of weak boundaries to no boundaries. And
learn from our mistakes, maybe.
Pretty much. I think that was it. Yeah, don't be us. There we go.
We'll hold our hands up and say, we fucked up. Don't do this.
No, like this. No, like this.
No, like this.
No. Right. But on that note, we are going to wrap up, because it's a beautiful day and barbecues are going to be had. So I hope wherever you are, whenever you are watching this, it's a beautiful day. Or if it's not a beautiful day, you have something awesome inside or something like that. But we are going to go and enjoy the summer sun and have a barbecue. And as always, peeps, thanks for watching. It's always appreciated. Much love, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.